I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask Commissioner Kennedy if he'll lead us in the flag salute.
Please rise and join me in paying tribute to the flag of our great country. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Kennedy. Can we please have a roll call?
Commissioner Kennedy,
Here.
Commissioner Burkhart,
Here.
Commissioner Troutman.
Here.
Let the record show that Commissioner Ostrom is not in attendance. Chair Berger.
Here. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Okay, we have the agenda in front of us. Look okay to most?
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody object? Carries. Next up, we have the minutes from the May 20th study session and the regular meeting we had.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you very much. Okay, can we please have the commission secretary announcement?
Welcome to the regular meeting of the Santa Clarita Planning Commission. I would like to offer some information to help you understand how we conduct our meetings and how you can best participate. Agendas are on the back table listing the items the commission will consider tonight, along with speaker cards. If you wish to speak on an item that is before the commission this evening, you must first fill out a speaker card. Please place your completed card in the tray or deliver it to me prior to item being discussed. This will help the commission process public comments in an orderly manner. If you wish to submit written comments only, complete a green written comment card, also located on the back table. When Chair Berger announces your name, please approach the podium to address the commission. Applicants have up to a total of 25 minutes to make their presentation to the commission. Each individual speaker will be given 3 minutes to make his or her comments, indicated by a colored light on the commission dais. A green light appears when the speaker begins, a yellow light appears when 30 seconds remain, and a red light appears when the 3 minutes have expired. Your comments should be complete at this time, and to help keep our meeting running smoothly, please refrain from applause. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tonight, before we get started, I just want to ask if there's anybody in the audience tonight that is here for any other item other than the what is posted in the back? No? Okay, wonderful.
And if I might clarify, Chair Berger, there were 2 items scheduled for tonight's meeting. One had to deal with a telecommunications facility on Market Street. The other was with regard to the establishment of a pawn shop on Railroad Avenue. Since the 21-day noticing of those public hearings, both of those projects have been formally withdrawn. Therefore, they are no longer on the agenda for tonight's meeting. So if anybody is here to speak on those items, they are no longer on the agenda.
Thank you very much. Oh, wonderful. Okay, now we'll get started. We'll start with item number 1. And that's the draft, the fiscal year 2008-2009 operating budget and capital improvement program. Tonight will be presented by Tina Haddad. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair Berger and members of the Planning Commission. My name is Tina Haddad, and I am the assistant to the city manager. And next to me is Carmen Magana, and she is the city's finance manager. Tonight, we are here to present the draft 2008-2009 operating budget and capital improvement program. As you know, the operating budget, or the draft budget, is a culmination of 7 months of hard work from both staff as well as the City Council Budget Subcommittee, which is comprised of our Mayor Keller and also Mayor Pro Tem Ferry. During the budget study session in March, you heard our city manager, Ken Polskamp, say that this budget year will present a critical time for the city as a result of the slowdown in our economy related to the housing market and the consuming spending sectors. For this reason, we have kept additions to the budget at a minimum and only included items that were absolutely necessary in providing exceptional services. However, despite the depressed economy, our City Council's conservative approach to budget during the last several years has prepared us for this predicament and will allow us to continue pending projects that will help in designing the future of our great city, which is the theme for the fiscal year 08-09 budget. There are a number of key capital projects that are in the pipeline that are either near construction, in design, or being conceptualized. And this includes the sports complex, the Central Park expansion, the Old Town New Hall Library, streetscape, and parking structures. It also includes the Canyon Country Community Center, the Cross Valley Connector, and the Joint City-County Civic Center. These infrastructure projects are important in addressing the imminent growth over the next 20 years and help us design a future that upcoming generations will marvel. Our city manager's recommendation to the City Council has been to focus on these projects as well as many other projects that are currently in the pipeline. He has also stressed that he is not recommending to the council that we add new projects that could strain our expenditures. His recommendation is to wait 6 months into the budget process when we have actual revenues to evaluate and understand how it will impact our financial solvency. As a whole, the budget is balanced and represents a 4% increase over the current year's adopted budget. The majority of this increase will be funded out of special revenues and will have a minimal impact to our general fund. With regard to the general fund, appropriations will increase by 1% over the current year's adopted general fund budget. And in addition, we will continue to maintain our 15% operating reserve. Our most flexible revenue source, as you know, is the general fund because we can allocate it towards any project within the community. For fiscal year 08-09, revenues are projected at $87.3 million, and total general fund revenues are down by 1.5% from what we expect to generate by the end of fiscal year 07-08. And as you remember in March, our city manager had mentioned that this decline is a result of a flat sales tax projection as well as a decrease in development revenue. With regard to property tax, we are projecting a 6.4% increase over the current fiscal year. This is based on assessed valuations provided by the county assessor. This projection also builds in a delinquency rate of 3.5%. And I'd also like to note that this estimate is based on assessed values that were already recorded by the lien date, which is January 2008. And I know you had a question about that, Chair Berger, during the last meeting. As you can see from the pie chart on the screen, the 5 major general fund revenue categories include sales tax, property tax in lieu of vehicle license fees, property tax and development fees, and franchise fees. With regard to general fund appropriations, total appropriations are at $82.2 million. And as mentioned before, this is only a 1% increase when compared to the current year's general fund adopted budget. And appropriations are under total revenues by $5.1 million, and this is consistent with our budget policy of making sure that total appropriations do not exceed total revenues. And again, I'd like to mention that Parks and Recreation continues to take the biggest piece of the general fund pie at 26%. The total capital budget is estimated at $25 million, and this includes funding for 42 capital projects through the use of 24 different funding sources. The capital budget is a decrease of 19% from the current capital budget, and the reason for this decrease is that we wanted to be careful in adding new capital projects that could impact our finances, specifically our special revenues, which are used to finance one-time capital projects. At this point, our city manager has asked our council to wait again 6 months into the budget process to evaluate our special revenues to see if we can take on more projects during the fiscal year. At this point, I wanted to go over some of the highlights of, or just budget highlights within the Community Development Department. Funding is included to add a community preservation officer to the current 5-member team that's out in the field. The new officer will primarily conduct proactive code enforcement in the Canyon Country area as previously requested by that community. The budget also includes $100,000 for the Old Town New Hall professional services and marketing. The budget also includes $125,000 for Whitaker Burmite, so we can continue our leadership role in remediating that site. And $100,000 is also included for our efforts on the Los Lomas project. And finally, we have $30,000 for to hire a consultant to help us develop the CDBG consolidated plan, as well as the impediments to fair housing choice. At this point, I wanted to go over some of the significant capital projects that are in the budget. We have $200,000 for the Old Town Newhall Library, and this will help fund the cleanup and demolition efforts on the new library site. And we also have, in addition to the library project, Old Town Newhall will also benefit from the new streetscape design. The capital budget includes $2.2 million to construct Phase 1 of the streetscape plan, which includes the entire storm drain and selected portions of the streetscape palette. The improvements will be located on Main Street between Lyons and 5th Street. We have $5 million for the overlay and slurry program, and then finally $3.3 million is allocated for the intelligent transportation system, which will basically install traffic detector stations at locations citywide to help in our traffic monitoring efforts. The next step in finalizing the budget is going to the public hearing, which is scheduled before the City Council on June 10th, and then finally adoption, which is scheduled for June 24th. And that's the end of my presentation. Thanks.
Wonderful, thank you very much. Any questions to staff before we open the public? Commissioner Kennedy?
With regard to the 15% operating reserve, could you give us a quick explanation of what that's reserved, what the base is for the 15%?
How much it is?
What is the base against which the 15% is determined?
Oh, the 15%.
Income or expenses?
The 15% is based on total general fund operating cost.
So expenditures, correct? On an
Yes,
annual
that's
basis.
correct.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Kennedy. Commissioner Troutman, any questions?
Hello?
Hey.
Okay, got it.
Thank you.
How is the Cross Valley Connector going to be funded? I understand that there's because of the slowdown, we are not expecting to get the development fees that we were hoping for to complete the gap and the bridge.
This project will not slow down as a result of money. Actually, we have designated federal appropriations as well as developer money and county B&T for this project.
Okay, do you anticipate that developer money coming in at the same time? It seems to me that we've had a change now with property development slowing down, housing market slowing down, and I think that, weren't we talking about projected completion of Cross Valley Connector for 2009 or 2010?
2010 is my understanding, and I believe the money is already available or expected to be available, and those sources are known and stable.
Okay, thank you.
We had the meeting with the joint meeting with staff and Parks and everybody. Were there any changes since that time, other than the 6 months reevaluation philosophy? Was there any changes in the numbers or anything that we spoke about then?
No.
Not really? Okay. Okay. I want to open up the public hearing, and we can bring up a speaker. Cam Noldmeyer, excuse me, Cam Noldmeyer, if you'll please come on up.
Cam Noltemeyer. I've been following the budget process, and it seems to be a moving target. I was just wondering if you received this copy. It was handed out at a subcommittee meeting of 2 council members. And when I hear what is being said, and it seems to me from what I'm reading, the Bridge and Thoroughfare thing is kind of in the red quite by millions of dollars. So I don't know how that's being resolved. And my other concern has been more of a personal one, and as far as the street maintenance, the slurry seal, and it's like 35 million behind, and they're only allocating 5 million. Now, my street is 20 years old, and it's already cracking and deteriorating. I mean, major cracks. We're not just talking some little hairline things. And we're seeing this all over the city. The fact that the streets are rapidly deteriorating and they keep annexing more, and I don't know if anybody's looking at the quality of the streets that they're annexing in, but what I'm seeing in our neighborhood is a general deterioration of the neighborhood because of the streets. And I don't see where budget after budget that is really being addressed. I mean, there's, they put out 5 or 6 million and make it look like you're doing a lot, but in the view of how much they're behind, it really isn't. And you're already hearing rumbles from other areas where they're saying, well, we just can't handle this. We're going to have to go back to the taxpayers. And I just don't want to see that happening in this city because we are already grossly overtaxed in this city, and especially with the way assessment districts are done in this city. So that's a concern of mine. My other concern is the capital budget, because at different levels I've heard different things that are going to be financed. At one of the meetings there was the Central Park design, Canyon Country Rec Center, property, Big League Dreams, etc. $150,000 for a parking study. Yet I don't really see anybody asking questions about those, or really even in what's being presented to you. There doesn't seem to be a good review going on by anyone that I have seen with regard to this budget, and is going to be going for approval. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, back to the commission. Further questions of staff? No? Commissioner Troutman?
Tina, could you just go over the summary again with the proposed budget represents a 4% increase over the current year's adopted budget, but it's only a 1% increase in general fund appropriations. What's the other 3%? Am I misunderstanding?
The rest of that is coming from special revenues. Most of that increase is a result of, and the special revenues are landscape and streetlight maintenance district, as well as transit funds.
Okay, and are those transit funds already in our reserves, or those are funds that we're expecting from federal government, state?
Funds that we're expecting to receive.
Okay, so that would explain why the 6 months. You've got to wait and see what you're going to get in 6 months and then adjust appropriately. Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Troutman? Okay. We have a recommendation. As you can read on here, the recommendations is staff recommends that the Planning Commission make a finding by the minutes action that the documents for the City of Santa Clarita's draft fiscal year 2008-2009 operating budget and capital improvement program are consistent with the city's general plan. What's the pleasure of the commission?
Comfortable with that?
I would adopt that.
Okay, so I guess we have first and second. We'll still vote on this. Can we have a roll call?
Commissioner Burkhart,
Yes.
Commissioner Troutman,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Chair Berger.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Wonderful. Tina, thank you very much. Next up, we get to see Mr. Chow again. Welcome, James.
Good evening, Chair Berger, members of the Planning Commission. My name is James Chow with the city's Planning Division. The item before you this evening is master case number 06-157. This is a continued public hearing item from April 15th in regards to a request to subdivide one developed parcel into 5 residential parcels located at 23327 8th Street. The slide before you is a vicinity map identifying the project site, which is highlighted in blue here. The project site's located on 8th Street, just east of Valley Street, in the Happy Valley community. As you may recall, on April 15th of this year, the Planning Commission held a public hearing regarding the proposed 5-lot subdivision and received public comment that evening. Also on that evening, the Planning Commission decided to first continue the public hearing to May 20th, and then directed staff to either prepare a resolution of denial for the 5-lot subdivision proposal, or to work directly with the applicant on a reduced project and subdivision of a lesser density of 3 lots. Initially, the applicant did request to work with staff to revise the project with a 3-lot subdivision to come back before you for consideration. Shortly thereafter, and ultimately, the applicant decided not to concur with the project of reduced density and requested also to have that item continued to June 3rd. So there, on May 20th, the Planning Commission did decide to continue that item to this evening for formal denial of that project. And in following through with the direction of the Planning Commission and in finding that the subdivision is not in keeping with the pattern of development in Happy Valley or with the density within that area, staff concludes that and recommends that the Planning Commission adopt Resolution P08-08, denying without prejudice Master Case 06157, consisting of the proposed tentative track map and oak tree permit. This concludes staff's presentation, and I'm available if you have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chow. Any questions for staff? No? Okay, we do have a speaker here. Let's see, Cam, welcome back, come on back.
Speaking on behalf of SCOPE as a board member, I just want to support the staff recommendation for denial based on your own recommendations that this is not consistent with this neighborhood and to preserve this neighborhood. And so we hope there will be no changes in that. Thank you.
Thank you. I can tell you, I drove by this location last week and stopped this time. Got a good look. I'm glad we decided what we did, because I really believe it now by looking right in person that we did the right thing. With that, what's the pleasure of the commission?
Move to adopt staff recommendation.
Second.
Second? Can we please have a roll call?
Commissioner Troutman,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Burkhart,
Yes.
Chair Berger.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chow, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair Berger.
Darren's coming up for item number 3, which is master case number 08-074, a time extension 08-002 for tentative track map 62343. Darren, welcome.
Thank you, Chair Berger and members of the Planning Commission. My name is Darren Sigmiller of the city's Planning Division. The item before you this evening is Master Case 0874, time extension 0802, a request for a 5-year extension to tentative track map 62343. A little background on the project to refresh your memory. On May 17th, 2005, the Planning Commission conducted a public hearing on the proposed project and adopted Planning Commission Resolution P0516, recommending that the City Council approve Master Case 04443, tentative track map 62343. On June 28th, 2005, the City Council granted approval of the project, permitting 147 residential units and allowing the applicant 2 years to record the final map. Since 2005, the applicant has received a 1-year administrative time extension, which was approved on June 5th, 2007 by the Director of Community Development, and it expires on June 28th, 2008, this year. On April 24th, 2008, the applicant submitted an application for a second time extension, requesting an additional 5 years to record the previously approved tentative track map. Pursuant to the Subdivision Map Act, a second time extension is subject to the review and approval of the Planning Commission. Again, just by way of refreshing your memory, this is a vicinity map showing the project site located, highlighted in red. To the north, you have Soledad Canyon Road traveling north and east of the project site. To the south and west of the project site, you have the American Beauty residential development and the MTA right-of-way that runs adjacent to the project site to the north and east. The zoning map, the project did request and receive the approval for a zone change and general plan amendment. The zoning is currently residential moderate, or RM. It's bounded to the south and west by the residential suburban zone and the MTA right-of-way, which is owned OS, or open space, to the north and east. Here's a picture or a slide of the tract map that was approved. You can see it's what we call a detached condominium development, in that the units are separated, they don't share walls, but they act more like a condominium than a residence. The Unified Development Code states that an approved tentative tract map shall expire 24 months from the date of approval and shall be permitted to extend the map through an administrative approval process for up to 1 year. The City Council approved tentative tract map 62343, as I mentioned, on June 28th, 2005, and on June 5th, 2007, the Director of Community Development administratively approved a 1-year extension. The 1-year extension expires on June 28th, 2008, and the final map has not yet been recorded. Pursuant to the Subdivision Map Act, the applicant may be permitted a second time extension. Such extension may be granted by the legislative body or by an advisory agency authorized to approve or conditionally approve tentative maps. The period of extension for the tentative tract map may be up to 5 years. Therefore, the applicant has requested a 5 additional years in order to record the final map with the County of Los Angeles. Staff has reviewed the time extension and the 2005 City Council approval of the tentative tract map and concludes that no facts or circumstances have changed or occurred with the project that would necessitate a change in findings or conditions of approval. Thus, the approval continues to be consistent with the findings and conditions of tentative tract map 62343. As far as public noticing goes, as required by the UDC, all property owners within a 1,000-foot radius were notified by mail of this hearing, and a legal notice was placed in the local newspaper, and the site was posted with a sign. With that, staff recommends the approval of Master Case 0874, time extension 0802, to allow for one 5-year time extension until June 28th, 2013, to record the final map. This concludes staff's presentation, and staff and the applicant are available if you have any questions.
Thank you, Darren. Questions of staff?
Yes.
Commissioner Troutman?
I'd like to ask Mr. Montez about the Subdivision Map Act. I did a little research this afternoon, and I didn't see I looked at an interpretation, I guess, a legal opinion on the Subdivision Map Act, and I didn't see in their specification that you can apply a second time for an extension. And according to our UDC, 1701-160, permits and entitlements may be granted only one-time extension. So does it specifically say in Subdivision Map Act that you can allow multiple time extensions?
The Subdivision Map Act takes precedence over the city's zoning code. What the Subdivision Map Act provides in the applicable section, which is 66452.6A1, says that the initial life of a tentative map is 24 months. Thereafter, you're entitled to apply for a 12-month extension. Subdivision E then goes on to say, in addition to that, you can apply for an extension of up to 5 years. So you have the ability to apply for the 1-year extension administratively under A1, and you have the ability to apply for another 5 years under sub E.
And my next question is to Darren, I guess, is the, I understand now that I have heard that there will be a traffic signal installed at that location, that access onto Soledad, is that correct?
We have Ian Perry from the city's traffic division that would
Okay.
probably best answer that question.
Ian?
Welcome, Mr. Perry.
Good evening, Chair Berger, members of the commission. Actually, the city's position is we will allow a traffic signal if the developer would like to put one in. I mean, our position is kind of non-committal either way. It works either with or without a signal. In fact, we had a conversation with Mr. Radashida this morning. I did, and we told him our position. He seemed like he would like to have a signal. I think it was a matter of funding on his part to find the funds to put that signal in. But our position is it's safe and efficient in either way. Now, we did tell him without a signal, we will not allow any left turn movements out of the project site because that is the one that's most difficult to accommodate without a signal. Right in, right out, and left in, those can be safe and efficient without a signal.
And do you anticipate that that's going to be the case over the next 5 years? You don't anticipate any major changes that would significantly change the traffic patterns or increase risk at that location?
Not significantly, not in that area, no.
Have there been accidents? Do we have an accident report on anything in that vicinity, that area?
I don't have that with me. Given that most accidents are from conflicting, if there had been a history of accidents, it would be from movements into and out of the site, and given that there's nothing there now, just through traffic, I really doubt there would be an accident history to go by. So it would probably be difficult to say.
So we don't know if, without that, just having accidents or breakdowns or anything in that area, we don't know what that record is. Just
Correct.
Without that turning.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I don't have that
accident's gonna
information. I
happen.
apologize.
All right. And did we, and I don't know if you have the answer to this or other staff members, did we ever have someone go out there from the fire department and look at that site? Did somebody do a site tour from the fire department?
The fire department did participate in the subdivision process that we went through initially when we brought this before both the Planning Commission and City Council.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember, there was extensive discussion with regard to the ingress, and the single means of ingress and whether or not a second means of access was warranted. And it was determined at that time by the LA County Fire Department that a single means of access was appropriate and acceptable and met their requirements.
Okay. Ian, are you aware of incidents with trains stalling or derailing or leaking in the community, anywhere throughout the community over the past 20 years?
Personally, no. I've heard anecdotally from various people that There have been, trains and truck incidents since we've been a city, but I can't tell you specific dates or times, no.
Okay, thanks.
I'd also just like to mention, we anticipate that if this project were built, there's about 75 peak hour trips into and out of the site during the morning and evening rush hour. So if you think, a certain percentage of that is in, a certain percentage of that is out, you could assume, that's probably 1 turn a minute. That really is not a high volume. So that's why we think even without the signal, it should not be a problem.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Perry. Any other questions, Commissioner Trout?
Not at this time. I'd like to hear what Commissioner Kennedy has to say.
Sure, Commissioner Kennedy.
Okay.
Hurricane Katrina revealed both the generosity of the American people and the resiliency of American business.
If you're a small business owner, it's essential to you and your community to get up and running quickly after any disaster.
Planning ahead can make a real difference. We urge you to visit ready.gov for free tools to help create an affordable emergency preparedness plan.
Because the faster you're back in business, the better for all of us.
Here in the Santa Clarita Valley, we get so little rain. But we have 3 easy ways to save water each month this summer. 1. Make sure your sprinklers work and don't aim at the sidewalk. You'll save 500 gallons. 2. Don't forget this 25-cent washer to fix leaks and save 600 gallons. 3. Plant things native to our valley and save 750 gallons. It's so easy, even I can do it. But you're the one who can save money and water for our future.
Pregnant? Scared? Alone? Sometimes knowing where to go for help is half the battle. You want straight, honest answers you can trust. At the SCV Pregnancy Center, you'll receive the personal care and support you need to make informed decisions at this important time in your life. The choice is yours. Choose to know. All services are free.